In this video, I am going to discuss the MCP server. First, we'll create the MCP server. Then we'll see how to integrate the MCP server with our application. Before the MCP server, we use API to call the subsystem to retrieve the relevant information. This is typical when it's come to the maintain. Let me tell you why. Let's say organization A, they have multiple features to expose for their consumer. So what organization A is doing, they will create multiple endpoint and they will expose their features via API. Let's say we are going to create the application, so we need to consume their all the API. So what we need to do in our side, we need to call their API to consume all their features. Let's say organization A, they have more than 50 API. So in our side also, we need to call their 50 API. So sometimes, so organization A, they are regularly upgrading their version and their features. To consume those features and versioning, in our side also, we need to do the changes and we have to deploy that into the production. That's why it is difficult when it's come to the maintain. After introducing the MCP server, so now most of the organization, what they are doing, they will expose their features through the tool method. Then in our side as a consumer, so we need to create the MCP client, then we have to consume the MCP server, then we can have all the tool method in our side. Based on the user query, LLM will decide which tool method need to call. Based on that, it will provide the response. When it's come to the maintain wise, now it is very less compared with the previous API code. So consumer side, now it's very simple, but when it's come to the server, MCP server side, they will now take care of all the version upgrade and all changes, and they will expose only the tool method. Since that consumer side, they don't need to do any changes. Hope you have clear on this. Now let's see what are the MCP servers we are having. So basically we have two type of MCP server. One is local, other one is remote. When it's come to the local, so let's say in your organization, so you need to create the MCP server and you need to expose the features via the MCP server, but you don't need to expose those into the internet. So then you can create the MCP server and chat application also you can create, and you can host in those in the same machine, and you can call the MCP server via the standard input output protocol. So then a chat application and the MCP server can communicate via standard input output protocol. So but when it's come to the remote MCP server can expose to the internet, so then it can connect via the internet. So it can transport through the Streamable HTTP protocol. So this is nothing about, so we can get the response via chunkwise. Hope you have clear on those two. Hope you have clear on this. Now we will see how to create the MCP server, and I will show you through the code how we're going to expose through the MCP server via standard input output protocol and also streamable HTTP protocol. So we'll see both MCP server. Here, so here you can see I have created the simple calculator MCP server. Here I name it as a mat hyphen server. So in that MCP server I have four tool method. One is add function. It's basically adding the two values, and subtract function, it's basically subtract the values, and multiply function, it's multiply the two values, and divide function, it's divide the values. So likewise we have four method in this application. So we'll expose this via the internet. So then we have to mention the transport as HTTP. So let's see how we gonna create this MCP server, expose this MCP server. You can see here, this is how we are going to create the MCP server. We have to mark it as a fast API MCP as an interface. Then we have to mark all the method as MCP tool. Let run this one, and I will show you how to integrate this in our chat application. We'll run this MCP server. You can see now it is running. Let's check the other MCP server. So we have standard input output protocol MCP. So here we can have MCP server. So I name it as standard input output MCP hyphen server. Here we have personal data. So here you can see I have added owner name, age, and the owner address. Those are personal data. So we are not going to expose this data into the internet. So we'll see how to call this MCP server through our chat application. So we'll run this one. You can see it's exposed as STDIO. So let's run this one. So here I have run this one. Then we'll see how to integrate these two MCP server into our chat application. So let's open our chat application. So we have created our chat application in previously. So here you can see this is our chat application. So we have both front end and back end. So I have added our changes in our application. You can see here we need to create MCP client. So I have import the MCP client. So multi-server MCP client. So then we'll see how we gonna create the MCP client. So here you can see this is how we need to create the MCP client. First we have to define those MCP servers. So first one we use Streamable HTTP. So you can see this is we are calling via the internet. So we call it our MCP server. So our mat MCP server, as I showed you earlier. So we are calling to that using the Streamable HTTP protocol. So here I will show you here, right? This is how we are integrating our MCP server into our chat application as the client. Then we have standard input output protocol. So this is let's say we are exposing this in our same machine. So in that case we have to provide the path to our MCP server application. So likewise here you can see I have added the path to our application. So then as an argument, so we need to pass the path. So, and hope you have clear on this how we integrate, how we gonna integrate this. Then we have to create our tool, MCP tool. So then here you can see I have created the MCP client. So then I will extract all the tool from our MCP client. So you can see here. Then we integrated this MCP tool into our application. So like we did in earlier. So here you can see load. I have load all the MCP tool and will integrated those tool with our previous integrated tool. So we previously integrated tool method. Here you can see weather tool and the stock quote tool. So and apart from those tools, we are now adding the MCP tools. So likewise we need to bind these tools and we'll create the land graph node based on those tools. This this application we already created in our previous video, so you can check that video and you can get some understand on this application. So here now I have additionally I have added the MCP tool. So you can see here, right? So and apart from that we have two MCP servers, one for the to retrieve the personal data and other one to get the some calculate data like addition, subtraction, multiplication and dividend. So let's see in our application so how we gonna use these tools and MCP tools and the weather tools and alls. Let's see. Let me run again this, and also we need to run our UI application also. I will delete and run again that as well. Then we'll see in our UI will run. Look here, this is our chat application. So first we'll see, we'll add two numbers. We add two numbers at 5 and 6. Then we'll see the response. Yeah, you can see it's provide the response as 11. So then we'll see how it's where it's getting the response. You can see it's calling the tool, right? So we have, you can see all the tools, it's list down here. You can see here, right? So we have 7 tools. Then you can see it's calling our MCP server. You can see, right? So it has the log here. It's calling the add method, add tool method. So then it's provide the response to our, then it's provide the response. So it's now you can clear, right? It's calling our MCP server. Then we'll see, we'll subtract two numbers. So it's provide the answer as 4. So you can see it's calling here. You can see from the logs, right? So then also it's list down all the, we'll see in our that application log. So you can see it's having all the tools. Now we will check our personal data. We ask what is the owner name. Let us the owner name. Yeah, you can see it's provide the owner name as Alex. So it's mean it's calling our local MCP server. You can see, right? It's calling the get name method in our local MCP server, what we have here, right? So here in this tool method, it's calling to retrieve the owner name. Let's again will retrieve provide the owner age. Let's see. Yeah, so it's provide the owner age it as 30. Let's see. Yeah, here you can see we have get age method. So owner age is 30. Let's see in our chat application with the which method it's calling. Let's see in our chat application. You can see it's calling the get age method. So let's check the address as well. The owner address. Let's see. Yeah, you can see it's returning the correct address to calling our local MCP server. Yeah, I will show you here. We have get address method and we have address, right? This address. So in our application also it's returning same address, and we'll see in our application. So it's you can see it's calling the get address tool method, and it's returning the address. Hope you can clear on that. Let's ask what is the current weather in Bengaluru. Yeah, it's now it's calling the weather tool, so it's provide the correct response. You can see here, right? Now it's calling the tool method what we have in our chat application. So I will show you here, right? You can see here, right? Get weather tool, it's calling the get weather tool, and it provide the proper response. So now we'll check the price of some stock price. Let's see. Provide me the current stock price Apple. Yeah, so you can see it's provide the proper response from the what we ask. So now it's calling the stock tool method, and it's provide the proper response. Hope you have clear on this. So that's it in this video. So in the next video we will create document based rack system, so and we'll integrate that into our application. So until then, thanks all.